नमस्कार, मैं ललित सोनी दृष्टि। एक सेकंड, कोई टेक्निकल ग्लिच है शायद। So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and today we'll be discussing Indian Express in this live session by Drishti IAS. So let's start. Since it was weekend, we'll be taking few news items from the weekend. So let's start with the weekend's news items. Okay, so then we'll be moving to today's newspaper and we'll take some 3 to 4 articles for our discussions. After that we'll look at some practice questions for your prelims and mains. Okay, so let's start with the some article from the Saturday and Sunday's newspaper. Okay, so Qatar counts Qatar court accepts appeal against death penalty to 8 Indians. So basically there was this case wherein 8 ex-officers from Indian defences were actually given death penalty in Qatar because of some espionage charges. Okay, so they were given death penalty and India was exploring the options related to how we can save them. So ultimately we have filed an appeal there, and other than that we have the family of these 8 personals has gone for the pardon petition, etc. So now court has accepted the appeal. Now court will hear the matter or the appeal again. Okay, so that is about it. We don't have to go into details of this. Okay, and then further, citing betting concerns, government sets tighten online gaming rules. So basically here we are saying that we are going for tightening of the gaming rules. Okay, these online gaming platforms are there, okay, which goes for your betting, okay, because of which there are few concerns like there might be a possibility that there is no genuine platform. Other than that, there are possibilities related to money laundering. Okay, and then there are possibilities related to, you can say, tax evasion, etc. So that is why government has taken all these things into consideration, and now we are going to have some regulatory reforms here, and we are going to go for some tighter gaming rules. Okay, the current rules lacks legal teeth. Okay, legal teeth means here these when we are talking about the enforcement of these rules, there is some kind of lacunas over there. Okay, so the current rules lack legal teeth to effectively deal with the online gaming sector. That is why we are going for the reviewing the regulations. Okay, other than that, when we are talking about this offshore betting on platforms, there are betting platforms which are like, some are domestic or Indian apps, and then there are some offshore platform. So basically these platforms works outside India, and then they gain profit from here to the source country. So basically because of which there can be issue of profit shifting. Other than that, there can be one issue, that is money laundering. How let's say there is a person in India A, he uses this money, some money, and deposit into the online banking of this particular app. Okay, and then it withdraw the money from some other country, because of which there can be a case of money laundering. So this is basically you can say that using black money to deposit into these banks and then getting it out from the official legal account. Okay, so that can lead to black money laundering. So that are the some contentions, because of which now we are going for the tighter regulation. As of now, if we are talking about, there is a mode of self-regulatory model. Okay, self-regulatory model means that these applications or these stakeholders, they will come together and form a regulatory body, and then they will regulate themselves. Hold on a second. Okay, so that is about, these will make a self-regulatory model. Right now that is in place, and now we are considering that we should go for reforms and make some tighter regulations. Recently you must have read that GST to such applications or such platforms has increased to 28%. Okay, so that is one of the strict reform which government has taken. Okay, moving further, government takes apex cyber security agency out of public's right to know. So basically when we are talking about this apex cyber security agency, that is CERT-in, or you can say India's computer emergency response team. Okay, whenever there is a cyber attack or something related to IT attack or something, in that cases there is this organization which comes forward and take actions in that particular regard and go for investigations, etc. That particular organization is basically CERT-in. Okay, so now they have taken it out from the RTI's ambit, right to know. We have this act, RTI Act of 2005, wherein any person can go and ask for any kind of information which is in the public domain, they can utilize it. Okay, so ultimately we have taken it out from this RTI's ambit because because of some national security, etc. That is why we have taken it out. Okay, so they have used the section 24 of RTI Act to do that. Whether in this section government and state both has power in their respective ambit to add something in that particular schedule or to take out any organization from that schedule. Okay, so let's see what they have done. That Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT-in, a cyber security agency exempted from the Right to Information Act via DOPT notification, that is Department of Personal Training. Okay, now legal basis is the center utilized section 24 clause 2 of RTI Act. So RTI Act section 24 clause 2 authorized center to do it, and section 24 RTI clause 4 authorized state governments to do it. Okay, so to exempt CERT-in and placing it under serial number 27 in the second schedule. So basically second schedule of this act is a list of some entities, or you can say organizations, which are put outside the ambit of RTI Act. Okay, so this particular section gives right to center to add or to omit some organizations from this particular schedule. Okay, so right now there are 27 entities in this particular schedule. There are 26 other, and now 27th is CERT-in. CERT-in falls under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is obvious. And now other than that, you can see here CERT-in now joins 26 other intelligence and security organizations already exempted from RTI's scrutiny. So these 26 organizations are like, you can say, CBI, investigation agencies, or intelligence bureau, CBI, NIA. All these things are outside the RTI's ambit, and now CERT-in is also part of those list. Okay, section 24 of RTI Act exempt certain intelligence and security organizations from RTI, though corruption and human right violations related allegation are not excluded. In any case, if there is a, let's say, some kind of corruption related allegation in CBI, in that case they have to reveal the information. Okay, so basically with respect to corruption and human rights, they are not subjected to this particular exception. Okay, the government can include or exclude organizations from second schedule of RTI Act through notification in official gazette subjected to parliamentary scrutiny. So basically government can do it by notification, and then notification will be placed in the parliament and parliament will decide on that. Okay, that is for the central government, and similar powers are granted to state government under section 24 clause 4. This is 24 clause 2, and that is under 24 clause 4. Okay, you don't have to remember the section, only thing is you can remember that there is a schedule, that is schedule 2, and there are some 27 entries, and there is a power given in section 24 of RTI Act. Not, you don't have to remember the sub clauses for center and state government, but you have to remember that state and center, both the government has the power to add any agency into it or to remove it. Okay, so let's move forward. Domestic production of rare disease drugs brings down the costs. So basically these rare disease drugs are those drugs which are to obviously used for the treatment of rare diseases, and rare diseases are those diseases for them burden is very less. Okay, if we are going for the commercial production of such drugs, okay, there is no market available for such drugs. Okay, so obviously this private sector will not go for such things because there is no market, so there is no profit, and that is why these rare disease drugs are quite expensive. Most of them are imported from outside countries, and that is why they are even more expensive. Now government is focusing on the domestic production of such rare disease drugs, so that we can go for a affordable price. Okay. So we can see here, Indian drug companies have started manufacturing medicines for at least 4 conditions. These are the 4 conditions, that is tyrosinemia type 1, then Gaucher's disease, Wilson's disease, Dravet-Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. Okay, you don't have to remember all these things. Okay, just just remember that what is the these diseases referring to. Okay, we will see that in particular this disease what happens, and in Wilson's disease what happens. You don't just have to have an idea about it, because they have mentioned it in the article, and these competitive exams have tendency to take out information from the news article directly. Okay. So now when we are talking about these rare diseases, a condition is considered to be rare disease if the prevalence is less than 1000, one case per 1000. Okay, one case per 1000 population. If that is the burden, in that case we will say that it is a rare disease. Okay. So when we are talking about India, there are 8.4 to 10 crore people who are under this bracket, and they are suffering from some kind of rare disease, for which treatment is either not existent, or there are therapies which are extremely expensive. Okay, that is why now government is focusing on to change that norm and go for domestic production of these treatment for these diseases, and now private sector will help in that, significantly reducing cost up to 100 times cheaper. Okay, so basically we are trying to make these particular treatments affordable, and 4 more affordable medicines expected by 2024. Now we are going for these 4, and after that, after 2024 or by 2024, we are going for 4 more. Okay, we are expecting that. Okay, government urges production of oral solution for hydroxyurea for sickle cell disease treatment. When we are talking about hydroxyurea, it is some kind of salt which is available in the form of tablets and capsules, but not for the oral solutions. But when we are talking about the sickle cell disease, this is predominant in small children also, in kids also. That is why government is saying that you can go for a oral solution. Okay, the cost reduction in the making treatment or more accessible for rare disease, decreasing expenses from lakhs to thousands. So basically that is the aim. We are trying to cut the cost of these particular medicines from lakhs to thousand. Okay, that is the focus of government for now. So let's see, companies are manufacturing these medicines without a profit motive. Okay, if we are going for the profit motive, there is no market. So obviously if they are going for the commercial production of such things, that will not be profitable. Okay, that is why they are going without a profit motive. Understanding the rarity of the disease and limited demand. Rare disease context, we have seen that if there is a burden which is less than 1 case per 1000 people, then that is a rare disease. In India, there are 8.4 to 10 crore people suffering from this, often with expensive or non-existent treatment. Government's focus is on collaborating with the drug companies for cheaper therapies for 13 priority conditions. So for now we are going for 4 diseases. By 2024 we will be going for 4 more, and then we will go for the rest. So there are total 13 priority conditions which has been seen by the government for now. Exploring ways to make medicine available across different regions, supporting indigenous therapies research for these conditions. So basically they are going to go for the R&D of such treatments in India, so that domestic production can be cheaper for us, because imports are mostly expensive. Okay. So there are these 4 diseases which they are going to try for now, that is Gaucher's disease. It is a condition wherein it leads to fatty deposits on liver, spines and bones, leading to an increased risk of fractures. So basically what happens here is that on the bones and liver and spleens, there is a deposit of fatty acids, or you can say some kind of fat, because of which there are more chances of fractures. Okay, that is Gaucher's disease. When we are talking about Wilson's disease, it is some kind of a psychiatric symptoms it shows, wherein there is excess deposition of copper on the cornea, liver or brain. Okay, so this is because of the copper deposit, this is because of the fatty deposits. Okay, then there is tyrosinemia type 1. It is a metabolic condition. Okay, it is related to metabolism, where the body cannot break amino acids. Okay, when body basically do not break amino acids that is related to digestion, and now because of which it leads to accumulation of amino acids in liver causing serious liver diseases. So basically what happens, there is a missing enzyme because of which these amino acids are not broken, and now they start depositing on the liver. So basically here it happens because of the deposition of amino acids. Okay, and then this is Dravet and Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. It is a genetic epilepsy syndrome. Okay, so it is a genetic syndrome. Now other than that, it is because of the fatty deposit, it is because of the copper deposit, and this is because of the amino acid deposit. So you have to remember just these things for your exam point of view. Okay, now External Affairs Minister has said that we need to define international relations beyond Western thoughts. So basically till now when we are talking about the study of PSIR or political science, we are mostly reading about these Western political thinkers. Okay, so this particular topic would be important for those people who are from the PSIR background or for your essay. Okay, they can directly state this statement by Mr. Jaishankar, and they can ask for the explanation of such things. So now basically they are saying that this is dominant by the Western political thought. Okay, other than that, when we look at any kind of discipline, we will see that there are all the disciplines are somehow having some kind of Western influence, or you can say the colonial influence. Now when we are talking about these Western thoughts, they generally include Greek philosophers, and then afterwards European, or you can say Western philosopher. These philosophers used to say that India does not have any kind of strategic culture. Okay, but they don't know that we have strategic culture. We have the text which says that before these European thinkers like Machiavelli, or you can say Greek thinkers like Plato and Aristotle, we have seen these scholars even before them. When we are talking about Plato, Plato's whole theory is based on works of concept of Atma. Okay, so basically Plato was influenced by Pythagoras, and Pythagoras visited India, and he was mesmerized by the concept of Atma, and then he goes back to Greece, and then Plato learns this thing from Pythagoras, and then he employed it in his you can say myth of metals. Okay, he has given different type of men, or different type of soul. Okay, so ultimately these all philosophers have driven their theory. If we are talking about the political philosophy, we are saying that Plato is the father of political philosophy, and he has derived his work from concept of Atma, and that is an Indian concept inherently. Okay, other than that, when we are talking about this scholars like Machiavelli, we say that Machiavelli was a realist thinker, first modern thinker, or you can say this. When we look at the work of Machiavelli, we will see that most of the work of Machiavelli resembles the work of Kautilya, and Kautilya was the person who found his king and implemented his ideas. When we are talking about Machiavelli, he could not. So ultimately we do have much better strategic culture and philosophers, but they are not recognized as much. When we are talking about any kind of debates or something, if we think about any kind of philosopher, first thought would go to Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, all these things. But we have to change that norm, because when we are talking about the cultural hegemony, we have to understand that we have to come forward with our own strategic say cultural hegemony, or you can say that we have to break the Western norms which are set in the global level. Okay, so when we are talking about this PSIR, or as a matter of fact international relations, we have to come out of this Western thought or Western influence, so that we can have an autonomic, or a strategic culture based on our own autonomy. Okay, so that is what Mr. Jaishankar has said in this particular thing. He has said that Westernism is different from modernism. Okay, we have to understand that we can have our own concept of modernism. Okay, every culture has a pace of its own. We can go at our own pace and not necessarily according to the Western models. Okay, so that is about this particular article. Now we'll look at the today's newspaper. So we'll start with the first article, that is talks on peace deal with the Valley insurgents group soon, says the Biren. Mr. Biren Singh, the CM of Manipur, he has said that we will be going for the talks with the Valley insurgents. When we are talking about Manipur, there are many insurgents groups. Okay, and there are many tribal groups. All these insurgents groups are basically some tribal communities. Okay, so when we are talking about the demography of Manipur, I have discussed it earlier also. This is the area which is valley. Okay, you can see that this particular central area is valley, and then this area surrounding it is basically hills. So when we are talking about this hilly area, it is dominated by communities like Kukis, Nagas, Mizo, Zomi. All these communities are present in this particular area. When we are talking about the northern side, these are dominated by Nagas. When we are talking about these southern sides, we can say these are dominated by the Kuki, Mizo and other communities. So ultimately there is a clash, and when we are talking about this valley region, this is dominated by the community named Methi. Okay. So now that they have had an agreement in 2008 with all these communities, like 2008 we had a suspension of operation agreement with all these things, saying that you will suspend all the operation of insurgencies in this particular region, but no such agreement is with these communities, or you can say insurgents from this valley region. Okay, now they are saying that we will start talking with the valley regions as well. Okay, when we are talking about this 2008 suspension of operation agreement, in that they have said that they will suspend the operations, but ultimately if we see de facto, these operations are still in process. These people are relying on the opium cultivation etc. for their financial needs, and because of which recently in like 4-5 months back violence erupted in Manipur region, and that still continues. Okay, so that is why now they are saying that we need to talk with all these communities, and now we will be talking with the insurgents groups as well. Okay, so let's see. Here they have been, they did not mention the name of that particular group, but we can say here United National Liberation Front, the oldest Methi insurgents group that is prevalent in the valley region. Okay, so there are chances that they will be talking with them, and significance of this move is because until now there was no agreement with this valley based Methi insurgents group. So that is why this particular move by the government is quite significant, because they will be talking with the this valley insurgents now. Okay, so now this is about this particular article. You don't have to go into details of it. I have told you enough, like suspension of operation agreement. We have talked about Kuki, Zomi insurgents group, and then they are still working. Okay, this move added to the already brewing discontent between the Kuki dominated region of the Manipur and the government of Manipur, or the Manipur state. So basically what happens that this particular state, this particular suspension of operation agreement is not fulfilled by their side, because of which some kind of violence erupted, and that was the issue of content between the these communities and the government of Manipur. Okay. So that is about this particular article. As I told you, this is the valley region which is Methi dominated. This is the hill regions, which is basically 90% of the area that is hilly, and it is dominated by the communities like Mizo, Zomi etc. And this is valley region which is 10%. Okay, and it is dominated by the Methi communities. Okay. When we are talking about this particular region, this is economically well doing, this is developed region, because this Methi community is politically dominant over there. Politically you can say economically prosperous. Okay, so there is developmental activities going on in this particular area. This is well connected area, but when we are talking about this particular hilly region, it is not well connected, and this is not well developed as well, because of which there is a developmental disparity, and which ultimately led to clash between these communities. Okay, so why is that such particular communities going for insurgency? Because all these tribal communities like Nagas, they are demanding for the greater Nagaland. Then there are Kukis, they are demanding for the Kuki land. So ultimately they are saying that because of which demands, because of these demands, there was some kind of struggle between these communities. Okay, which led to some kind of violence in this particular region in 1990s, and then these Methi communities were insurgents came for their own rights. They are saying that you are trying to succeed the state, you are trying for the greater Nagaland, they are trying for the Kuki land, and this particular community here is sandwiched between them, and now because of which they have also come for the insurgency related activities. But the thing is, insurgency cannot be a solution for anything. Okay, even if they are going for the insurgency, that is wrong, and if you go for the insurgency, violence cannot be solution for anything. Ultimately government has to take steps to suppress all these violence like activities. Okay, so that is the thing about this article. India US worked on a pact for quick returns of stolen antiquities. Okay, so basically in the past years, or you can say from the time of the colonies, there was this antiquities which has been stolen from India or been taken from the India to other lands. Now USA and India are working for an agreement which will make sure that all these antiquities are returned back to our country. Okay, India is close to signing an agreement with the United States under which the process for return of stolen antiquities will be hugely simplified. So basically earlier what used to happen that if there is such antiquities, we have to prove that it belongs to India, and ultimately then they will there was a cumbersome process, and after that it will be returned. Okay, but now instead of India having to prove the item in questions belongs to it, USA will automatically offer it to return for once cultural property agreement comes through. So this basically agreement is known as cultural property agreement. Once this agreement is signed, we don't have to prove it. They will ultimately say that if it is belonging to India, they will return it to India. Okay, so as simple as that. India is looking to sign such agreements with several countries where a lot of Indian art objects are believed to smuggled. Okay, so when we are talking about USA, USA has some 25 active bilateral cultural property agreements. Okay, under which they are providing all these artifacts back to those people without any kind of time delay. Okay, so there is no time clause ultimately in these agreements. There is no time clause, yet they are doing it at a very fast pace. Okay, Afghanistan, China, Cambodia, Egypt, Greece, Italy, Jordan and Turkey, all these countries are having such agreements with the USA, and now India is trying to sign one too. Okay, moving further. So from the world affairs, China, Japan and South Korea agreed to boost trilateral ties and ease tensions. Okay, so basically in this particular article, they have discussed that there is a trilateral meetings between China, Japan and South Korea. They are trying to start cooperating on the security related reasons, or you can say their bilateral issues or their multilateral issues in the region. They are trying to cooperate on all these issues. Okay, ultimately recently you must have seen that USA, Australia, Japan, these are the Quad countries. They are also going for a dialogue with the China. Okay, and now you can see that other allies of you can say USA, that is Korea, South Korea is also going for the talks with China. So what that indicates is that now these Western countries and Western allies, or you can say USA's allies, are basically going to go for a change in strategy when we are considering this particular thing with respect to China. Okay, so they are now going for different approach. They are going to talk with the China, and China will also go for this thing because China is now facing some kind of economic stagnancy. Okay, and because of which it cannot go for spending more on the defenses now. Okay, they have to revive their economy. China is growing at a pace of nearly 4 to 4.5%. So that is why it is imperative for China to not go for any kind of more escalations or the confrontations. So now they have changed a stance. Now you can see that China, Japan, South Korea is going for the trilateral meetings, and when we are talking about USA, Australia and Japan, they are also going for this thing. So now question is, should India go for such things or not? Okay, so scholars like C. Rajamon are saying that no, we should not go for such things yet. Okay, because these countries do not have any kind of direct confrontations, or you can say when we are talking about USA, it does not have any kind of direct border dispute with China. Even if when we are talking about Japan and South Korea, if they are having some kind of maritime issues with China, okay, or in the South China Sea or East China Sea, that are not at the par with the degree India is facing with them. Okay, India has the nearly you can say more than 3500 kilometers of boundary with China. Okay, and now we are having disputed points on that. So that is why India should not go for that particular stance as of now. Okay, because that is one leverage we are using, because China's economy is not doing great and China has a huge market in India. We can utilize that leverage for the border talks. Okay, so here you can see foreign ministers of China, Japan and South Korea agreed on Sunday to restart cooperation among Asian neighborhood and pave a way for the summit of their three leaders in the latest move to ease tension in the vital region. So basically what they are doing is, in this particular region they are trying to cooperate on their issues. Okay, Beijing, Seoul and Tokyo had agreed on annual summit from 2008 to bolster diplomatic and economic exchanges, but two-way rose and COVID pandemic could not let that happen. Okay, so last summit happened in 2019, and after that now they will be going for such summit now. Okay, so that is mostly because of the regional cooperation and the change in the strategy of USA towards China, and hence the allies of USA are going for the change in the strategy also. Okay, so they will be going for the security, economy, technology, and promote concrete discussion to prepare for the summit. So all these things they will be discussing. Okay, so that is about this article. It shows that there is a change in stance, or you can say change in the approach of these Western allies towards China now, and India should be really careful or cautious about such changes in the geopolitics. Beijing Washington trade charges over USA vessel in South China Sea. So basically what happens is the USA has done some kind of exercise, or you can say moved their vessels in South China Sea, and now China is saying that USA has entered into our waters without our permission or without letting us know. So they are kind of violating the international norms. Okay, so USA has said that they were just there for the routine freedom of navigation. Okay, so here you can say that China and USA exchanged accusation at the weekend over disputed South China Sea after China's military said that it has driven away USA warship that US Navy said that was on a routine freedom of navigation operation. Okay, so that is what happened. Chinese military deployed its naval and air forces to track, monitor and warn the USA destroyers. So basically there was this move that USA has entered into South China Sea for some navigation related operations, and now China is doing some steps like they are deploying naval and air forces to track this particular movement. US Navy said that we are there for just for the navigation related operations. Okay, so and they are saying that they were near the Paracel Island. Okay, this mention of island here is important. This particular island is disputed between, you can say, USA, China and Philippines. Okay, and when we are talking about this island in South China Sea, they have went to the UN clause. Okay, UN clause is a body which kind of have a say on the laws of the seas. Okay, they have approached UN clause, and UN clause has given a decision in favor of Philippines, but China did not recognize it. Okay, so that is why they have mentioned this particular Paracel Island in this article. So this is important for you. USA states is an out and out security risk creator in the South China Sea. That is basically China is saying that USA is creating security risk in the South China Sea by doing such unlawful swooping in the South China Sea without any permission. Okay, so that is about this article. Then world affairs, if we are talking about plea seeking removal of president in Pakistan Supreme Court. So basically there is a plea which says that president of Pakistan should be removed, okay, for because of some kind of misconduct and failure to maintain impartiality. Okay, because of which they are trying to go for the removal of president of Pakistan. This is not important for us, this just the news, just you can have this thing in mind, because this is related to domestic politics of Pakistan, which is not important for us. Okay, okay, so there is this news related to Khanka's origin, which is related to Lodi era. Okay, so here Hijroka Khanka. So basically this word, which is quite derogatory for the eunuch community, okay, or you can say now we are recognize them as third gender. Okay, so this particular you can say site, ancient site is medieval site is there. Okay, which is important because they have given a whole article on that. So only thing that which you have to remember is that there is this particular place, that is Hijroka Khanka in Mehrauli area. There are some kind of dargahs of Mia Sahib and 29 other unidentified eunuchs. Okay, and this was built in the Lodi era and belonging to some, you can say, 14th to 15th century. This is what you have to remember for your exam point of view. Other than that, when we are talking about this particular place, there are many dargahs of this Mia Sahib and 49 other eunuch members of the eunuch community. Okay, so this was an important place because they used to have this celebrate Muharram and Shab-e Barat over here. Okay, so Hijroka Khanka, graves of Mia Sahib and 49 other unidentified eunuchs belongs to go back to 15th century, a sacred space for Delhi's eunuch community where they can gather, pray and celebrate without any kind of fearing persecution. Okay. Other than that, if we are looking at this particular structure, you can realize that what kind of importance they hold in the medieval time. Okay, now this community is marginalized. Okay, there are some human rights related issues with them, or there are social issues regarding their status. But when we are talking about the Lodi area or the medieval era, you can see that these people have an importance in the royal court or the royal palace. They used to work as guards or spies, even you can say soldiers at times. Okay, so that is why we can say that in that particular era they had an importance in the royal court, royal palaces. So now they are marginalized, but they had a history of their own where they were not as marginalized as we thought, because there is a such structure which is dedicated to this particular community. Okay, other than that, you can say the chronicles like Babarnama and this Akbarnama, these chronicles you have to remember because they have been mentioned here, and that is why you have to remember the author of these chronicles as well. In these chronicles, it is said that there are evidence. Okay, there are evidence saying that this particular community was recognized as a third gender. A distinct third gender status was given to eunuch community in that era. Okay, and now they are fighting for such rights in this particular modern era, if we say. Okay, so we can say the importance of this particular article here. Okay, that can be important for your social issues as well, that can be important for your history, art and culture. Okay, that is why I have taken this particular article, that is Hijroka Khanka, and it belongs to Lodi era. Okay, so let's move ahead. Terror attack that leads to changes. Okay, when we are talking about 26/11, which happened like 15 years ago. Okay, in that particular terror attack, there were phenomenal changes. We have seen that particular terror attack was of you can say a wake up call for India as well. Okay, it has shown us that we were not ready for such attacks at that particular time. When we are talking about the maritime security of that particular time, we can say that 10 personal, or you can say that 10 terrorists came along the maritime route, and from Karachi to Mumbai they came in a small boat and they entered into the city. They have created chaos over there. Okay, but we can also say that that particular event happened, and then it led to a fight against terrorism. Okay, when we are talking about before the 26/11, we were also fighting against terrorism, but we were alone in that fight. Okay, when 9/11 happened in USA, we thought that now it will be a wake up call for USA and they will also fight for the global terrorism. Okay, but ultimately what happened, that they were fighting their own terrorism. When we are talking about this particular event, or before that, there was terrorism and people were fighting, but there was two camps, that was your terrorism and my terrorism. When we are talking about India's terrorism, Western world has a say that this is your terrorism when we are talking about India and Pakistan. Okay, and when they are talking about my terrorism, because of the Laden and etc., what the things happened, they have said that that is our terrorism. So there were fight against terrorism, but they were in the separate silos. Okay, but now after this particular attack, 26/11, what happened, that there were many people from different nationalities. Nearly 7 people from USA died here. Okay, and that was a wake up call for USA, saying that the terrorism is not in different silos, or your terrorism or my terrorism. It is a global issue, and now they started fighting against this particular issue from this particular time with a comprehensive approach. Okay, so here you can see that on 22nd November, Pakistan's then President Asaf Ali Zardari quoted Benazir Bhutto, saying that every Pakistani had a little bit of Indian and every Indian has a little bit of Pakistan. Okay, so that was a very nice statement to say at that particular point of time, to you can say have a peaceful indication in the relations. But after that, in like 4 days, that this particular attack happened here. Okay, So now after this particular thing, what happens is Pakistan was seen as a perpetrator of the terrorism. We have given world the evidence that this Pakistan is behind all these Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Lashkar-e-Taiba has resulted into this particular attack. Okay, so after this particular point, we can see that we have ultimately started isolating Pakistan on the international front. So that particular event happened as a watershed moment when we are talking about the fight against terrorism. Okay, so that is basically about this particular article, where we will be seeing about the strategy which has been adopted. Okay, so after that attack, we have seen Pakistan as a perpetrator of this terrorism. Okay, and then we started fighting against that. After that, you will see that we have made efforts. Even after in those efforts, USA and the Western world were on our side, because they have realized that in that attack there were nearly 16 people from 16 nationalities which has been injured or died in that particular attack. And that is why they have, we can say that this was the major global attack by terrorism on Indian soil. And ultimately, because of that, we have achieved found some sympathy from the Western side as well. When we are talking about USA has helped us, or you can say FBI of USA has helped us gather evidence against Lashkar-e-Taiba. Okay, and when we got the evidences, and we have said that Pakistan is behind that, and then you must have heard of this Financial Action Task Force. And then we have maintained that this particular people are behind this attack, and this task force has given a grey, Pakistan in the added Pakistan in the grey list. Okay, because of which there were financial constraint imposed on the Pakistan, and which led Pakistan to acknowledge that yes, they were behind it, and they started working against terrorism. Okay, so that was a significant change after this particular attack. Okay, India's strategic restraint. Okay, at that particular point of time, India might have gone for a direct war against terrorism or Pakistan, but India restrained from that particular thing, because India wanted these USA and the Western people on our side. So India did not go for direct war, but what India started is India started isolating Pakistan on the global front. Okay, and that was the time when USA has recently signed a nuclear deal with India. In 2008 there was the signing of civil nuclear deal. Okay, after that USA has some kind of trust on India, and after that this particular thing happened, and they have realized that Pakistan is not a ally. Earlier USA was with Pakistan because in Afghanistan there was this entity called Taliban, which has been made by USA earlier, and with the support of Pakistan. To control that Taliban, they needed Pakistan. But ultimately, when they realized that this terrorism is biting themselves now, they have gone against this particular events, and you must have heard that at that particular point of time, Osama bin Laden was killed by USA. Okay, in the Pakistani soil. So ultimately, all these events led Western world to be on the side of India against the global terrorism. Even China at that particular point of time was with India on this global terrorism fight. Okay, so that is where strategic restraint they have maintained, that they did not go for a direct war with Pakistan, but ultimately they have isolated Pakistan on the global front. Okay, so that are the things that has happened, the Pakistan and the West, and dividends of the restraints. Okay, now we will be seeing after that what happened. What we did was we tighten our intelligence network. Okay, we have taken some reforms. Okay, legal teeth to terror fight. When we are talking about this legal teeth, we are basically talking about acts related to, let's say, UPA Act or National Investigation Agency related acts. Okay, so now after this particular event happened, what we did was we went for the maritime security revamp. We realized that these people came from the maritime route, and we did not even know they were there. For 4 days they were in the city, and we did not know that there are some 10 terrorism. They came through the sea route from Karachi to Mumbai. Okay, so ultimately we realized that there are some kind of lacunas in our maritime security, in our preparedness when we are talking about any kind of such accidental events, and when we are talking about the our intelligence network, we did not have any information related to such things. So that is why we gone for the maritime revamp. We have given all the charge of maritime security to Indian Navy. Okay, after that we have strengthened our coastal guards. Okay, maintain some kind of you can say 100 of new marine police stations. All these things happened after that particular attack. Okay, then intelligence coordination we have gone for. All the intelligence agencies like IB, be it RAW, etc., they were to meet at the regular interval, okay, they were to coordinate with each other, and real time information is to be shared with each other, okay. So that sharing of real time information, etc., happened after that particular attack. Even when we are talking about international information exchange, that happened after this particular attack, even USA and all helped us into gathering some evidence against Pakistan in this particular thing, okay. Change in the laws like UPA, okay, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which has given expanded definition to the terrorism world, okay. And then when we are talking about NIA Act, which has given extra powers to the central agency, saying that they can take suo motu action whenever there is a terrorism related case. All these events happened after this particular time. Then modernization of police forces, we have realized that though there were some brave officers which lost their life, or they got martyred for our country in that particular thing, they were brave enough, but they were not ready for that attack, okay. So that is, after that we realized that we have to go for the modernization of police. We have gone that we have equipped our police officers with the new equipments, etc., but still there are some kind of lacunas we have to prepare for. Other than that, cooperation for the West, I have told you that how Western world has cooperated after that, okay. But now recently, if we are talking about the fight against terrorism is also now scattering again, because USA has their own concern, Europe is struggling with their own issues, okay. China is facing some kind of financial strain. So that is why this fight against global terrorism is again some kind of scattering again, okay. There are some lacunas which all remains as of now. As I told you that even if we are trying that modernization of police forces, etc., but yet they are not well trained yet, okay. So there are some kind of lacunas which also stays. Recently you must have heard that in the Rajouri and Poonch areas there are again this insurgency related activities or terrorism related activities are surfacing again. Why? Because earlier there was a network with respect to the Gujar and Bakarwal's tribe over there. They used to help us. Now those tribal people are kind of moving from that particular area because of the forest related laws or the employment related challenges, and now because of that the network has been scattered. Other than that, when we are talking about the deployments of the troops, we have seen that recently most of the troops are deployed on the LAC side, and that is why they have got an opportunity to enter again. So these things are now resurfacing again, but we have to make sure that all these lacunas which remains, we have to get work on that and make sure such things do not happen again. We have realized that after 2008, for a long time we did not see any kind of terror activities for a long time, but then there was this activity in the Poonch area, or you can say Uri, okay, and after that we have gone for the strong response by Uri strike or Balakot air strike, okay. But the such things are now after doing some such strikes also, we did not find any kind of criticism from the Western world, because they realized that what India is doing right now, that is very important for our security, okay. So that is about terrorism. We have taken this because of the 15th years of this particular attack. So that is why we have discussed this issue. You can go and make a note out of it, okay, so that you can write an essay on terrorism, or you can write answers in the mains, okay. So that would be all. We will take the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. In India, which type of veto power does the president possess regarding the constitutional amendment bills? As I told you that president does not have any kind of veto when we are talking about constitutional amendment bill. What happens is president has to give a prior consent when the government is going for any kind of constitutional amendment bill. They have to take a prior consent from the president, but then president has to give the assent. He does not have any other power with regard to constitutional amendment bills, okay. So let's see the today's question. Which medical condition is characterized by an accumulation of amino acids in the liver due to the absence of specific enzyme leading to severe liver diseases? Okay, so basically we have discussed all these 4 diseases. Which of the following is because of the deposition of amino acids? You have to answer. A is Wilson's disease, B is tyrosinemia type 1, C is Gaucher's disease, and D is Dravet syndrome. Okay, so you can answer in the comment box. Okay, and let's see the question for mains. Discuss the evolving nature of global terrorism into 21st century and its impact on international relation. How can nations collaborate effectively to to combat the multifaceted challenge posed by the terrorism. Okay, so you can attempt this question. Okay, and that prelims related question you can answer in the comment box. So we'll wrap up the session here. I'll see you in the next live session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.